Good morning, and welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear, and welcome to our online service. So glad that you joined us here today. When we begin our service in person, one of the first things that we do is say good morning to the people that are sitting around us. And since we aren't together in person today, what I invite you to do is just to maybe close your eyes for a moment and to bring to mind some of the people that sit around you on a Sunday morning if you attend our services. Or if you don't, to just bring to mind some of the people that you love and care about. And to imagine as you hold them in your mind's eye that you are sending them some of your love. Sending them some of your peace, seeing them stand in their own wholeness and in their own authentic power. And to know that as you are doing that, you are actually sending them a blessing. And to know also that as there are other people that watch this online, that there are chances that somebody is also doing that same thing for you, holding you in their mind's eye and sending you love and peace, seeing you stand in your own wholeness and authentic power, sending you a blessing. And how wonderful it is to get to participate in blessing each other. And so as we begin our service this morning, I'm going to invite our practitioner, Ray Bunch, to come forward and lead us in an evocation as we begin to evoke an awareness of the presence of Spirit. And our new favorite reader, Colleen Lynn, who's going to do a reading for us. And so I invite you right now just to kind of begin to settle into yourself. To let go of the busyness of the day and just to allow yourself to sink into your own beingness, to slow down, to allow the sound of this bell, this bowl, to take you a little slower and a little deeper.
Just come to that place that you call the center of your beingness. It's so important that we stop. Especially if we happen to be in a chaotic situation. But even if we've intended to come to a church service, it's still important that we remember to just set aside our daily routines, our stuff that goes on, the story of our lives, the who and what we are, and find that place that sits right at the center of ourselves. Wherever that's at for yourself, if you can put your hand on it, it's a good idea to help you remember. But just go there. Turn within. And just take a breath. And allow the living Spirit to become fully what you are. And from here, it's easy to recognize that this divine, loving energy source, creative force, this thing that is everything, is also what I am, what you are, what all the animals are, what the little ants are that are running around on the concrete. I'm talking everything. And it expresses in us, through us, and sometimes, I believe, as us. And today, right now, in this moment, I just bless this service. I bless this time together. And I acknowledge that it is all good here. That love is the main purpose. Acceptance, understanding, peace, freedom, and joy. So today I bless Reverend Jennifer as she opens her heart, as she opens up her mind and allows it to be used by the living Spirit. I bless Colleen and her ability to read to us what is important for us to hear today. And I trust that it'll be heard, understood, and used in each and every one of our lives. And with that kind of information, we can absolutely make a difference in the world that is a positive, beneficial contribution. And I say thank you, God. And so it is.
Thank you, Ray. And happy birthday this week to you. And Rosie, I know you're out there watching this, and happy birthday to you also. My reading today is from How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. The book begins, "Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos. So you've probably heard the story once, or perhaps thrice, about theft, Cindy Lou, Max, the Grinch, not so nice. So let's skip to the end, to the moral at least, right before you-know-who sits down to the feast. The Grinch says, "They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Whos down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But it wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet icy cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. and he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
That is awesome. Don't you love that story? I love that. And so I'd like to invite you right now to join me in either saying along with me or taking in our mission statement. And it goes like this. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in this world. And so that's what we're doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity by attending the online services, by listening to the readings and the talks, to remember that yes, indeed, the presence of the Infinite One lives within us, that it lives within our hearts and our souls, and that it expresses within us as a presence of peace and a presence of love and the truth of our own innate wholeness. Because what happens, it's as we come to recognize that that lives within us, that it is innate to our beingness, that then we have access to it. Because sometimes you might notice we forget. But when we know that that is within us, that then we are able to access it and bring forward love or peace or stand in our own wholeness or our own power, regardless of what's happening in the outside world. That puts us in a place of empowerment, and it enables us to be a beneficial presence in this world and to make a difference for those we come in contact with, and actually for the whole, because we are all connected to everyone and to everything else. And so I say thank you for answering the call of your own spirit, the presence of God within you, to be walking this path and to be giving way to that presence in this world. Thank you for that. And so that story, how the Grinch stole Christmas, that Colleen just read the beginning and the end of, I just love that story. Especially the part about the fact that the Grinch's heart was 2 sizes too small, and that is actually what caused him to be Grinchy. And then at the end, when he witnesses the Who's, after all their presents have been taken away from them, and all the food and all the ribbons and bows and decorations, he witnesses them holding hands and singing and being merry. They're still celebrating Christmas. And that causes his heart to grow 3 times in size. I love that story. And so the title of my talk today is The Season of Love. Because isn't this really a season of love? It's a season where we get to share the love that we have inside of us with our friends and with our families and with our neighbors and with even strangers, people that we don't even know. You know, as spiritual beings, we have a need to share that love, to share our spirit. And the more awake we become to our own spiritual nature, the greater that awareness becomes inside of us of that need we have to share that love and to share our spirit. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of this philosophy, says, this is in How to Use the Science of Mind, there is but one ultimate impulsion in the universe. This impulsion is love. This love is more than an emotional sentiment, although it must include all such emotional sentiments. It is the pure essence of divine givingness. Ernest Holmes also says God's nature is love and givingness. And so on our Zoom meeting this week, one of the questions that we answered and talked about was, what 3 qualities of spirit do you enjoy expressing in your daily life? And how do you express those? And many people answered love was one of those qualities, and that they express that by treating others with an open heart. Another answer was generosity and givingness. And that looks like sharing of our good, whether it's sharing a compliment or sharing our attention or giving someone a gift or giving an organization or somebody in need money. Another one of the answers that came up was oneness. Oneness, where I experience my connectedness with everyone and everything, with every rock and every tree and every person. All of those things feel so good to us because when we express those things, we are expressing our own divine nature and we are emulating the presence of the divine, that infinite one and its nature. And because we are spiritual beings, because we are expressions of that divine presence, then we have a need within us to love and to care and to extend our hearts, to extend our love and to extend our spirit. And because we are human beings as well as spiritual beings, we also have the need that is at the other end of that spectrum, which is to be loved and to be cared for and to be cared about. That need that we have to love and to extend our spirit and to extend our hearts is the thing that causes us to care for our family and our friends and our loved ones. It is also the thing that causes us and motivates us to volunteer and to give money to nonprofits who are doing good in the world. It's the thing that causes us to join civic groups and to help people that are in need. In fact, somebody said to me this week, you know, we have this need to care for each other, and actually our survival depends on it. And so I don't know if you've seen this. I've seen this picture a couple times recently online that's of a mother duck with her babies following her. You know how they're like in a line behind the mom swimming across the pond? Well, this is a merganser, and she has 56 ducklings following her in the water. They're not just her ducklings. She's taking care of the other ducklings so the other merganser parents can go off and feed and do the things that they need to do. I read a story this week that I'd like to share with you, and it says, comfort food is something everyone can appreciate. More than simply sustenance for our bodies, comfort food nourishes our soul and our spirit. Now, one New Hampshire woman is taking the concept to a new level, supplying, quote, comfort groceries in random acts of kindness to her neighbors. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought stress and food anxiety to tables where it's never been felt before. But it's also heightened the opportunity to be able to give back in ways that are immediate and meaningful. After a generous community turned out that included gifts and a drive-by parade turned her son Thomas's 7th birthday celebration from doubtful to, quote, epic, Brandy Bisson took the notion to pay the good forward. On a whim, the mother of 3 laid out $600 of her own hard-earned dollars to purchase groceries for 8 people that she'd never met. Quote, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, with all the election stuff, I just wanted to bring smiles to some people's faces. Having been on the giving and the receiving end of that equation, even though she's not wealthy, Bisson learned from her mom's positive example that giving back has its own reward. This week, in the spirit of Christmas, Bisson will further spread the love by supplying holiday meals for 2 families in need in her community. And she isn't stopping there. She says that she also plans to continue her random acts of goodness and groceries when she can, and hopes that others who see her story will be inspired to do the same. I also read a story last night about a Dairy Queen that is in Braden, Minnesota, where someone has paid it forward and paid for the person behind them in line. And you know how many cars continue to pay it forward? 900. The paying it forward lasted for 3 days at that Dairy Queen. They closed every night, and the last person through the line said, I want to pay it forward for the first person tomorrow. 900 people. I was driving down the street the other day going to a friend's house and saw someone had a big sign they'd plastered across their garage door on one of those butcher papers that said, this space reserved for Nurse Melissa. Someone who undoubtedly is working in the hospital where it's stressful in COVID cases so that she would come home at night and not have to find a place to park, but has someone else's driveway to park in when she comes home at night. We are born with a need inside of us to extend our love and our care. The problem is really that sometimes we just get too busy. We get too busy with all of our things that we have to do in our list, and we get distracted by our own lives. And we don't notice in that distraction and in that busyness that there is someone who could benefit from our care and our heart and our love. In our busyness, sometimes we forget that we are one human family. And I know this year, in the midst of the pandemic and all that entails and is going on, we can also be feeling feelings of frustration, maybe feelings of loss, and that's causing us to feel unhappy or maybe even a little bit depressed, because certainly this is not what we planned for this holiday season. It's certainly not what we hoped for. And so it's easy then to get a little bit down because of all the things that are happening. And I think sometimes when we feel down like that, what happens is we kind of withdraw and we draw into ourselves and we shrink a little and we get a little bit smaller instead of coming to the world with an open heart and open arms. And sometimes we don't share our love and we don't share our care because we have forgotten what we came here for. We have forgotten why we are here. We are here to give way to our own divine nature. We are here to give way to our spirit. We are here to give way to the Spirit, to that one. Clarissa Pinkola Estes said, one of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. The world is calling for your light, and the world is calling for your love and your open-heartedness and your spirit. I think now more than it ever has before. And so I'm talking today about the fact that when we treat others with love and compassion, with kindness and care, we are expressing our spirit, and we are expressing the Spirit. And when we share our spirits in that way, we are lifted up, and we are filled, and our light becomes even brighter. When we love and when we care and when we extend our spirit like that, we are graced by the sacred. And what we are doing becomes sacred. And in addition to that, when we treat ourselves with kindness and care and love, we become more resilient. We become more peaceful. We become more grounded, and then we are in a better space emotionally and mentally. And then when we are grounded and in that better emotional and mental state, then it is easier to be a loving presence in this world because we are already filled up then. Because then that love that we already feel inside of ourselves because we've been treating ourselves with kindness and care, we can give from that boundlessness. And we can give from that overflow of love. And so I really think this holiday season and this year and with all that's going on, we need to love ourselves even more. I think it's even more necessary to take care of ourselves. And on our Zoom conference this week, that came up from a bunch of people. They said, I need to love myself more. I need to accept myself exactly as I am. I need to get off my own back and quit giving myself a hard time. Can you relate? We need to be gentle and loving and kind with ourselves like we are with others. And so I invite you this holiday season and every day really to extend that same care and kindness and love to yourself that you are extending to others at this holiday season. And to know that you are enough. That really is all you need to do is to show up as you. That's all the world needs, for you to show up as you, for you are already the light and the love of that divine presence. Rumi said, listen with ears of tolerance, see through eyes of compassion, speak with the language of love, toward yourself and towards others. And I know for me what happens when I get out of my head and into my heart, when I get out of my ego and into my spirit, when I come from spirit and see through the eyes of my spirit, what happens is my judgment automatically just falls away. I'm no longer in judgment of other people, thinking perhaps that they are undeserving of my love or my care or my attention. The judgment falls away, and instead, seeing through the eyes of my spirit, I automatically feel compassion. When I come from my spirit, I automatically care. When I see through spiritual eyes, I already automatically hold you in my heart. And I already know from that place that we are family. Also, what happens when I see through spiritual eyes, I see our shared humanity. And that means that as human beings, we are not perfect. And we don't do things perfectly, and we make mistakes, and we mess up. And also, I can see from that perspective that we really all want the same thing. the same things. And we all are going about getting those needs met the only way we know how to do it. We are acting and responding from our own life experiences and our own belief systems and what we've grown up in. And we are trying to get our needs met that way. When I see through the eyes of my spirit, I also know that we are all lovable and that we are all deserving of love and of compassion and of care. That we all deserve to be loved. But in order to see through those eyes of my spirit, in order to see from my heart and from my soul, it takes slowing down. It takes getting quiet. It takes getting past my mind chatter so that I can feel my own soul, so that I can sense that divinity inside of myself. It's in that quiet that I can hear that wisdom and that I can see the truth of oneness and connectedness and that we are all one family. It is from there that I can hear my spirit and my soul and to remember that we are all one. To remember that love is present. To find the peace that was always there. And to see through the eyes of my own wholeness. It takes getting quiet and past my mind chatter to connect with my own divine nature. And so we all must take time regularly to tune in, to connect, to get quiet, to let go of the world and all of its problems and all of its busyness and all that's going on. Because if we don't do that, our ego runs the show. That's just how it works. And so take time to slow down and to reconnect and to reboot and to reorient yourself. And so I'd like to invite you right now to join me in a heart blessing. And so I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and to bring into your heart the people in your family. And to bring into your heart your friends. And to bring into your heart the people that you are not going to be with this holiday season. Just bring them all into your heart. And now bring to mind all of those front line workers and bring them into your heart. And bring into your heart the people that are experiencing loss right now. Bring into your heart the people that are experiencing health challenges, the people who have COVID right now. And the people who are experiencing homelessness. And the people who are feeling lonely. Bring them into your heart. And now, bring yourself into your heart. And allow these words to be your own. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And one more time, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And I invite you to open your eyes. I also invite you right now, as a way of caring for yourself this holiday season and loving yourself, to ask yourself right now, to ask your heart, where am I not loving myself? Where am I not loving myself? And that's a place to start making changes towards loving yourself more. And so my invitation to you this week is to take the time to stop and to reconnect with your own spirit and with your own divine nature. To move from your head to your heart, to move from your ego to your spirit, and to see through the eyes of your own spiritual nature as you look out there on the world and the people that you see. That takes you to the place of compassion. And know that we are all part of one spiritual human family. All of us. And that not just are we part of one spiritual family, but we are all human. And that means with those foibles and with those mistakes. And extend your love and your compassion to those other beings, not in spite of their humanness, but because of their humanness. And as a result, we will truly be experiencing this as a season of love. And so blessings to you at this holiday season, and blessings to you on this path of your own self-discovery as you discover your own divine nature and discover your own spirit and bring that into this world. Blessings to each and every single one of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. And so we begin just by sensing into that sacred presence, that infinite one. We just sense into and lean into, in our thinking and in our feeling, into that infinite presence of love and of goodness, that presence of wisdom and intelligence and joy and oneness and connection. Recognizing that this infinite presence is everywhere we go, in everything that we do, for it is at the center of everything. It is ever present as a presence of love and peace and goodness. And it desires nothing more than to express itself in its fullness, in its grandness. And today it expresses itself in and through each one of us. It expresses itself through our hearts and through our spirits, through our love, through our care, through our reaching out, through our sharing, through our caring. And so I know also that that presence pours itself out in our lives filling our homes and filling our hearts and filling our relationships with love, directing us and guiding us and speaking the perfect words of wisdom, that it is unfolding itself all around us as an abundance of good. And I claim and know, especially right now, that it is like a healing balm of warm honey that fills each and every single one of us with its peace, with its love, with its sense of well-being. How grateful I am to recognize that this is the truth and to be able to lean into it and to open myself to it. For it has always been here. It simply takes our recognition and our saying yes. And so today we say yes to all the good of the universe, yes to love and to light and to peace, the peace of this holiday season. And so we own that, and we claim it, and we recognize that this is the truth for every single person in this world. Love and peace, wisdom and intelligence, and good without bound. And so I release this word into the law, knowing that my belief makes an impress on this law, and that it responds and pours back the same into this world. And so I release this prayer in gratitude, in deep gratitude. And I say, and so it is. And I have a couple of invitations for you. One is next week, we are going to have a candle lighting service via Zoom on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So watch for your email, and I'll actually see if I can get Ray to post it on our website, the Zoom link, so that you can join us for that candle lighting ceremony. Our coffee at the parks is on hold right now as we are being asked by the governor to stay home and to not go out unless it's necessary, and for people in separate households not to be intermingling with each other. So we are honoring that request. And we still have Ministry of Prayer. So if you have a prayer request, you can send that or email that to Barbara Conant, and she will put you on our email list, and the practitioners and myself, will hold you in prayer for the next week. We are having our Thursday evening Zoom call at 7 p.m., and we invite you to join us for that. It's a wonderful time of heart connection and introspection and insight and love, really. And we invite you to join our YouTube channel, which gives you a one-click to our videos. So I would like to wish you a very happy holiday season, to thank you for your ongoing support of Living Beyond Limits, and know that you are held in our hearts and in our love and in our prayers. So until we see each other in person, blessings to you.